Superman and Wonder Woman were flying together over the North Atlantic, responding to some strange readings the Justice League had detected in the area. Wonder Woman, glancing at the swirling weather ahead, asked if Superman was sure he could handle the situation alone. She offered her help, but Superman confidently assured her he had it under control, even cracking a lighthearted remark about being good with storms and suggesting dinner in Oslo once they wrapped up. As they neared the storm, Wonder Woman took note of its unusual intensity and asked if he'd ever seen anything like it. Superman replied that it was odd for such a massive storm to appear at this time of year. But just as he spoke, something caught his eye. He stopped mid-sentence, focusing ahead. When Wonder Woman asked what was wrong, he pointed and identified a plane in distress. Without hesitation, Wonder Woman took off toward it, claiming the rescue as hers. Meanwhile, Superman dove straight into the ocean, entering the heart of the storm. Inside the storm's turbulence, he tried to focus his senses, mentally coaching himself to locate the core of the convection engine and cool it down. But then, he saw something strange just before reacting in shock, whispering, "Oh no." In the sky above, the pilot of the distressed aircraft issued a desperate mayday and was preparing for an emergency water landing. The pilot provided exact coordinates and urgently requested rescue, but just as the situation looked hopeless, the plane stabilized. The pilot was bewildered, confused by the sudden change. What he didn't realize yet was that Wonder Woman had reached them in time and was physically lifting the aircraft, pushing herself to stay steady in the sky. She encouraged herself to stay calm, urging herself to go slowly until she spotted something rushing out of the water. It was Superman, but something was wrong. He shot straight through the plane. The impact was catastrophic. The aircraft exploded into a fiery blast. Wonder Woman screamed for Clark and dove into the wreckage, racing to save the two pilots. She managed to reach them in time, but her mind was racing. Where was Clark? Why had he lost control? Superman soon appeared, disoriented and rattled. He admitted something had hit him underwater, something he couldn't see. It knocked him off course, causing him to crash into the plane. He asked Wonder Woman to hand over the rescued pilot so he could get them to safety. He was the better flyer after all. Before flying off, he asked her, almost pleadingly, to wait for him and not go underwater alone. Wonder Woman watched him go, silently worried. But she didn't have much time to process that thought. A sudden explosion hit her mid-air, sending her crashing down. On a nearby battleship, the crew registered the direct hit, but before they could prepare another strike, something went wrong. The forward gun mount failed, or rather, it had been destroyed by Wonder Woman. She came down hard and furious, demanding to know why they had fired on them when all they had been trying to do was help. But then she heard something behind her, a sound she didn't expect. She turned around mid-sentence, assuming it was Superman, but was instead met by a horrifying sight. It wasn't Clark, it was a monstrous figure drenched in blood, standing amid fallen soldiers. Without hesitation, she launched into battle. The fight was brutal. Wonder Woman fought valiantly, landing blows with precision, but she was overpowered. It was too strong. She was battered. Blood streaked across her face. It then landed a devastating hit that sent her crashing through the ship. She urged herself to focus. She called herself out, telling herself to get up. It was just a beast, a stupid beast. Everything had a weakness, she reminded herself. She had to find it, but before she could act, it struck again, and this time her arms were broken. Even then, she didn't surrender. Her arms weren't her only weapons. She had to think, adapt. She tried to fly to counter in some way, and suddenly something happened. A massive wave crashed against the ship, and in the chaos, the creature vanished. The battleship suddenly began to rise from the sea. The massive vessel lifts out of the ocean, slowly ascending into the sky, not on its own, but with Superman underneath, straining as he flies it up from below. After securing the ship's safety, he immediately turns his concern to Diana, asking if she's all right. Wonder Woman, battered but composed, admits she's never been hit that hard before. Superman offers to take her to the watchtower, but she declines. She heals quickly thanks to her divine blood. Her attention shifts to what they had just faced. She begins describing the creature. Huge, at least 3 meters tall, with gray flesh and boned spikes growing out of its skin. Its behavior was feral, mindless, and terrifying. It flickered like a flame, as if it wasn't entirely solid or present in this reality. Then, just before a massive wave struck, it vanished entirely. Superman, disturbed, says, "That's not possible. Will you come with me?" At the Fortress of Solitude, Wonder Woman wants answers, and Superman finally begins to open up. He shows her a device that functions as a viewing portal into a place called the Phantom Zone, described as a blend of a supermax prison and a garbage dump. It's where Kryptonians exiled their most dangerous criminals and uncontrollable threats. He starts scanning the zone, searching for something. Then he finds it. When Wonder Woman confirms it's the same thing that attacked her, she wants to know what it is. Superman answers, "They called it Doomsday." Diana immediately notices a change in him. He's visibly shaken. She pressed him, asking why he's so concerned. Superman replies, "Because, Diana, Doomsday is death." Wonder Woman responds with warrior logic. If the monster is just brute force with no intention, then it can be beaten. But Superman warns her that Doomsday is not what he seems. The fact that he was able to partially manifest in their world and physically attack them is alarming. The seals on the Phantom Zone might be weakening. And if Doomsday ever fully escapes, even Superman admits he might not be able to stop him. Wonder Woman tells him of all the powerful entities she's fought. Monsters, gods, beings capable of shaking worlds, and yet Superman stands above them, not just because of his strength, but because of who he is. She reminds him that he won't face Doomsday alone. Later, the pair travels to Mount Etna, to the armory of Hephaestus, the Greek god of fire and craftsmanship. Hephaestus greets her warmly, but is curious why she's there. When she tells him she's come about weapons, he scoffs, reminding her that he's already armed her well enough to conquer entire armies. But then she clarifies, the request isn't for her, it's for him, Superman. That grabs the god's attention, but not necessarily his approval. Hephaestus challenges Superman's worth, asking why he should aid this man when most mortals simply pray for divine help. Wonder Woman tells him that Superman is no ordinary mortal. Still skeptical, Hephaestus steps closer. Superman, respectful, offers to leave if his presence is a problem. That's all the provocation Hephaestus needs. He lifts his massive hammer and strikes at Superman, but Superman catches the hammer in midair, effortlessly, with one hand. Wonder Woman simply repeats her point. As I said, no ordinary mortal. Hephaestus finally agrees. No, perhaps he's not. After a little discussion, Wonder Woman asked if what she was requesting was even possible. Hephaestus admitted that yes, it was possible. He could forge something of that magnitude. He referenced a suit of armor he'd built long ago for war, something with similar qualities to what she had in mind. But Diana emphasized that this armor, this creation, would need to be the strongest thing he'd ever made. She'd already faced the thing they were preparing for. It was powerful, overwhelming even. Hephaestus reassured her with a confident response. Everything he forged was strong. Superman thanked him, to which Hephaestus replied, "Anything for the princess." That moment was cut short by a voice from above. It was Apollo, hovering casually in the air. He joked that Hephaestus should be careful with his words, warning him that Aphrodite, his wife, could get jealous and quite literally roast him in his own forge. Apollo made his entrance with flair, remarking on the noise in the forge and acting surprised to find guests instead of an explosion. Then he glanced at Superman and addressed Wonder Woman, sarcastically calling Superman her latest conquest. Strife, tagging along with Apollo, chimed in mockingly, confirming the identity of the man beside her was Superman. Wonder Woman's tone shifted as she acknowledged Apollo. Superman turned to her, a bit thrown off, and asked if she had told her family about them. Wonder Woman says, "No, they just know things. They're gods. Apollo is the lord of Olympus. From Olympus, you can see everything." Apollo didn't hold back. He mocked her romantic history, saying he didn't think she could do worse than her last fling. A mere human, but at least a warrior. Strife added her own insult about Diana's taste, implying even her divine heritage couldn't fix poor judgment. Apollo agreed and reminded Diana she was the daughter of Zeus, as if her lineage made her choices even more disappointing. Wonder Woman warned him to tread carefully, but Apollo kept pressing. He continued insulting Superman, calling him a thing from the stars, barely acknowledging him as a person. He claimed not to care who Diana slutted around with, but insisted she would have better standards. At that point, Superman had had enough. He addressed Apollo directly, confirming that he's truly a god, not just someone pretending with grand titles. Apollo scoffs at what he sees as ignorance, announcing that yes, he is Apollo, god of the sun and ruler of Mount Olympus. Superman, calm but firm, says that's good to know, because if Apollo speaks to Diana like that again, he's going to hit him. Superman warns him, "Now, most of the time when I hit someone, I can't go all out. I have to hold back. But since you're a god, I can hit you as hard as I want." The warning wasn't taken seriously. Apollo smiled smugly and, with one casual slap, sent Superman flying backward across the forge directly into a molten lava pit. Diana rushed to him, panicked, shouting his name. Strife taunted her. One punch, she pointed out, just one, and the mighty Superman was down. She told Diana that no matter how much she tried to forget, she'd always remember watching her boyfriend lose. It changes how you see someone forever. He's just less. Forever. Wonder Woman had heard enough. She lunged at Apollo, grabbing him, ready to unleash her fury, but before she could, a voice came from behind. It was Superman, rising from the lava, his suit burnt, glowing with fury and much more powerful than before. He told Diana to let him handle it, and he did. With one devastating punch, Superman smashed Apollo straight into the ground, flattening him. Apollo roared in disbelief, shouting that he was the sun. He launched a blast of pure sunlight at Superman, but that only made things worse for him. Instead of weakening Superman, it supercharged him. His body began to glow, strength pouring into him. Apollo, confused, demanded to know how. Superman explains, "You hit me with sunlight? You don't know very much about me, do you?" He could feel the surge. It was like drinking a bucket of adrenaline. The power coursed through him, and with it came the temptation to end the fight completely. He could collapse the mountain on Apollo's head with one of his fingers. But even though Apollo may have deserved it, Superman paused. He reminded himself that this was Diana's brother. Family is tough. Instead of delivering a final blow, Superman threw Apollo upward with such force that he broke through the mountain itself and was launched far into the sky. Afterward, Superman turns to Diana, half apologizing. He knows she could have handled the situation herself. She doesn't deny it, but admits she enjoyed watching him do it anyway. Before leaving, Superman once again thanked Hephaestus for offering his help. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel.